We recognize that the Champlain Valley Unitarian Universalist Society gathers on the traditional lands of the Western Abenaki people. We respect the Abenaki's spiritual and life-giving relationship to this land. We seek to honor the living traditions of the Abenaki and other First Nations, and we humbly hope to learn from them how we may better live in harmony, peace, and justice.
Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to CVUUS, the Champlain Valley Unitarian Universalist Society's online Sunday service. My name is Becky Strum. I'm a member of this congregation, and this morning I will be serving as worship associate for our settled minister, the Reverend Barnaby Feeder. This morning we're going to be looking back at a full year of pandemic and a full year of online services, looking back at what we've lost and what we've loved. I know that a year ago today, the last thing I could have imagined is that in 1 year, I would be getting a vaccine that would protect me from the virus. But this afternoon, I will get my second Moderna vaccination. And I know that many of you have had 1 or 2 shots, and I am especially happy to know that Vermont teachers are now going to be able to get this protection. So if this is your first time with us, joining us, please check out our website and email us so that we can tell you more about CVUUS. The best way, the really best way these days to stay in touch with all of the many activities going on at CVUUS, even in these socially distant times, is to read the weekly email blast. You'll find many pathways to connection there. And this morning, since we have an especially full service, I am going to direct you to check out that newsletter and that weekly blast. That's why if you are new, please let us know so that we can send you one. If you have a milestone or passage to share today, put it in the chat if you've not already sent it to us. And finally, please stay after the service for a congregational conversation on the future of worship. Those of us on the worship team need your thoughts about the future of worship. Many of us have been looking forward to coming together for worship in person in the near future, and we'll talk about that at a later time. But today we want to know if there are some aspects of Zoom and YouTube services that we might want to continue even after we are in person. And of course, we do want to thank all of those who collaborated to make this service possible today. Thank you to our stream team, Margie Young and Rich Wolfson, our guests, Vera Longtoe Sheehan and Jane Lindholm, our choir for special music, and Eric Mayer for tech support, and Jordan Young for managing the Zoom room. Our call to worship today is by the Reverend Max Coots. When love is felt or fear is known, when holidays and holy days and such times come, when anniversaries arrive by calendar or consciousness, when seasons come as seasons do, old and known, but somehow new, when lives are born or people die, when something sacred is sensed in soil or sky, mark the time. Respond with thought or prayer or smile or grief. Let nothing living slip between the fingers of your mind, for all of these are holy things we will not, cannot find again. And now is the time for our chalice lighting, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Hope we're going to get this video soon. And after you see the chalice lit in the video, please join with me in reading the words on the screen. Out of the darkness, light. Out of the light, warmth. Out of the warmth, joy. Out of the joy, togetherness. May this flame hold us for the time we are here with one another.
Oh my goodness. This fundraising business, asking for money, it's just not up my alley. I thought maybe I could call somebody, I'd engage somebody who's really good at it.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, Jane Lindholm. Hi, Jane. I need to talk to you. I've got this problem. I've agreed to do something, and I think I bit off more than I can chew. I told Barnaby and the CVUUS folks that Brett and I would share this year's canvas, you know, the annual fundraising. And Brett has worked it before, but I haven't. She knows what she's doing, but she's so busy, you know, teaching full time, teaching in class, and she expects me to do some of this stuff.
Uh-oh.
So, oh yeah, uh-oh is right. So I have to make a pitch at the service this Sunday, and I'm panicked. I'm not good at it, Jane. Jane, what am I going to do?
Dad, you're fine. You'll be okay. But how can I help?
Well, well, I'm glad you asked, Jane, because let's see. I'll get right to the point. You're so good at it, raising money for their pledge drives. Well, I thought maybe you'd do it for me this Sunday. You know, you Zoom in on Sunday and ask people to pledge to the canvas, give them a real pep talk like you do on VPR. Maybe you could get Mitch Wertlieb to help you.
Dad, I'm not even a member of CVUUS.
Well, Jane, no problem. You're practically a member. You're like a lot of other people I know. They're UUs. They just don't know it.
That may be true, but Dad, I can't. I work for VPR, so I'm allowed to fundraise for them, but I can't fundraise for other organizations.
Oh no, Jane, what am I going to do? Woe is me.
Dad, it's not that hard. Think of it this way. The key is to believe in what you're raising money for. I believe in VPR. I think it does good in the world, and I think the way we raise money and support ourselves is a good way to do it. I mean, I'm a member of VPR myself. Don't you believe in the work that you're doing at CVUUS and what it does for you and the rest of the community?
Well, of course I do.
Well, so say that. That's all you have to do. All of the people you're talking to want CVUUS to survive the pandemic, to come back strong. They want to give. I mean, they're here to give. This is what you just need to do, Dad, is just be honest and tell people why it's important. But Dad, I got to go. I'm at work.
Oh, okay, Jane. Thank you.
See ya. Love you.
Oh, okay, friends. What the lady said. You heard her. It's time. If you believe as I do that what CVUS does in the community, that our principles are a guide for living, it's time to step up and make your annual pledge. If you want to be in an inclusive and welcoming community that sustains a liberal tradition, as our mission states, if you like being active and visible on behalf of social justice and environmental responsibility, if you want to be in a community that nurtures and empowers everyone in it at all ages on our spiritual journeys, let's go. It's our new normal is not going to be the same as the old normal, but better even. So let's keep the band together. No, that's the wrong metaphor. Climb aboard this train bound for joy, bound for a better day. Now here's how to pledge. We've been divided into villages, and the village leaders will be in contact with you. Maybe some have already. You can pledge then when they're in touch with you. Or, this is very easy, you can go right to our homepage online. And it says right in the middle of our homepage, it says pledge here online. Click on that. It's easy as can be. Now, if that's not going to work for you, you can call Mary Hadley, 802-377-2270. Don't worry, that's the number in the directory. And she will fill out the form for you at your direction. Let's do it. Let's stay together. Let's get together. Let's make this a wonderful future for CVUUS. Let's keep the band together, climb on this train. Thank you. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Blessed be.
And I just want to say that I can't imagine having done this last year without being part of this community.
Hey.
It has sustained me a great deal. Yes, Carl?
I had a little bit to add to that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Inspiring presentation.
Go ahead.
Okay. Because I was talking, I had forgotten to unmute myself as usual. But good morning, everyone. I have just, as I said, a little bit to add to that inspiring message. I want you to, I'm hoping that you will keep in mind what we're calling this year the We Got You Covered pledge opportunity. If you have been relatively unaffected economically by these challenging times, we're hopeful that you will consider an additional one-time pledge. We are in effect saying to those whose pledge this year may not be what it has been in the past or what they would like it to be, we've got you covered. There's a line on the pledge form for this one-time gift. The canvas covers our financial needs for the fiscal year 2021-2022, from July 1 to July 1. Your pledge is your best estimate of what you can do next year. Thank you again. Carry on, and on to you, Poppy.
I really screwed up my cue before. I did not see the very subtle transition from video to reality. So nice going, Carl.
Well, I'm very subtle. You have to keep that.
We all think that about your subtlety, and we love you so much. So, I just want to say I'm about to show a video of RE from this last year. And all I was saying before was that for me, it has actually really, really sustained me and helped me to be part of this community during this last year, and to be doing work, not just for myself and my family, but for all of you. It's helped me get up in the morning when there were really tough days. And so I'm deeply, deeply appreciative. And here's the video.
My life goes on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, the far off hymn that hails a new creation.
No storm can shake my inmost heart, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? While
first I learned to love it. No storm can shake my inmost calm. I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing?
Now I think we're hoping to hear from Vera.
Yes. Quay Nadobuk, Gitsi Willy Winnie, Indeluazi Pela, Quenquizid, Nia Elnu Wabanaki, Nikiton, Vermont Abenaki Artist Association, Ta, Neaga Ki Gam Wino Ta, Indeleska Nawa Menual. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for having me here today to join your service. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and I'm so excited to be here with you. And I'm so inspired because I see faces from my childhood and friends and neighbors that I run into at so many of the events that I do. My name is Vera Longtoe Sheehan. I'm the director of the Vermont Abenaki Artist Association, and I'm also an educator, an activist, and an Abenaki artist. And I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about how my work and service with the Artist Association nourishes my soul, my spiritual well-being. Before I talk about that, I'm going totally off script and just speaking to you from my heart here. First, I'd like you to know that the Abenaki language is very different than English. English is about nouns and it's about myself, and Abenaki is about verbs and actions and what you do with your life. So for me, that work is very much wrapped around people who have become my friends and my family over many years. For hundreds of years, the Abenaki have had a very difficult and complicated history within our own homeland. And a lot of that changed in 2011 and 2012 when 4 Abenaki tribes received state recognition due to so many people that fought so long and so hard for that basic that basic right to be able to self-identify ourselves. So when recognition came, one of the things that happened was we started the Vermont Abenaki Artist Association. And initially it was supposed to just be this online directory where people could look and find Abenaki art. But I started working on that with this amazing group of people, and it has become so much more. And everything we do is about action. It's about social change. We're working with community partners from so many different places. We're creating exhibits, exhibitions, education opportunities, heritage events, and mostly connecting to people. The work I do is bridge building. It's filling in gaps and connecting the Abenaki community to the greater Vermont and New England community. And this just fills my soul with joy. And I know I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to share a few of those things that are super impactful to myself. And they may seem small, but these are some of the results that just fill me up with joy. I am grateful when I see artists sell their artwork that we've promoted, because when they sell their artwork, it helps them to feed their families. I'm grateful when our artists, when they are able to see how much the public appreciates their artwork or their performances. I feel renewed every time our grandmothers and our grandfathers come to cultural events and they are able to come without fear. They share their stories about their lives, their families, and about the past and the present, and everything they know about our ancestors. I know I'm a part of something super spiritual and powerful when I'm getting emotional, when Abenaki youth groups come to public performances and they sing our traditional music and perform our traditional dances. And at events, when the elders introduce themselves and for the first time in their lives, they can publicly say, I'm Abenaki. For that first time, they are able to join in a dance circle and be who they are. I'm happy when I present school programs to small children and they say how cool it is to be Abenaki. And that in turn helps our kids to feel more comfortable in their schools. And I'm happy when I get to share information about our culture with anybody who wants to learn more. Next to my family that I was born with and that I am married into, Abenaki artists are one of the biggest gifts the Creator has given me. In service to the Vermont Abenaki Artist Association and these folks has expanded my circle of friends and family so much more than I can possibly express here. The artists, every day, they teach me important lessons that help me to be a better person. And through them, I learn the lessons of strength and resiliency of our ancestors and how we all connect to them. My work is filled with spiritual renewal. And before I conclude, I would like to extend an invitation to all of you. From June 16th to June 20th, we will be having a virtual Abenaki Heritage Weekend, and well, it's a long weekend, and we would love to see as many of you there as possible. We'll be meeting on Zoom, and please join us. All of the events will be free. Gitsi Aluani, thank you very much, and it's been an honor being here. Thank you.
Good morning. I hope you're all well and continuing to survive after one full year of COVID life changes. 1 year ago, CVUUS Choir had no choir anthem on March 8th because we skipped one Sunday a month. We canceled the March 11th rehearsal. Then the rest of Vermont canceled everything starting on Monday, March 16th. We asked, what was our plan? What was choir going to look like going forward? Well, this. Everything became difficult. It only took 2 weeks of us to decide to do Zoom choir rehearsals again. But we were in for some real re-evaluations starting in the fall when we decided to put together one anthem a month with Eric Bremser-Meyer chosen as our compilation engineer. We started with a difficult piece, Muni with Choni, Water is Life, which was very hard. And all fall, I chose hard pieces that had challenges for the choir. We had Christmas anthems. Some members started dropping out way back in September because recording alone in your room isn't what choir feels like, and they didn't really enjoy it anymore. They were becoming overloaded with Zoom meetings. I know how they felt. But I persevered, and so did around 8 or so singers continuing to come together for weekly Zoom choir rehearsals. Come, sing together. Don't forget to turn on your mute button. This winter, I chose Rounds by UU composer Amanda Eudice Kessler because it seemed easier to ask the choir to record the round one time's through and done. Turns out Eric's job wasn't easier with the rounds because unfortunately, or fortunately, we're amateurs. We can't provide professional recordings, but listen to what Eric has done with our sound to make it less rough around the edges with today's anthem, Bound to Love, so fitting with our Bound for Joy canvas theme of the month. Please listen to the words of the second half, which says, these gifts are ours alone to give. Which ones are yours that you can give and share? Thank you.
Bound to love, bound to each other, bound to serve, bound to give, bound to care one for another every day that we live. What do we bring to show our love? What are the gifts that are ours alone? Body and spirit, heart and mind, making a world where all are whole. Bound to love, bound to each other, bound to serve, bound to give, bound to care one for another every day that we live. What do we bring to show to each other? What are the gifts that are bound to give? Body and spirit, one for another every day that we all are whole. Bound do we bring to show to each other? Bound to the gifts that are bound to give? Bounty and care one for another every day that we're all our home. What do we bring to show to each other? Bound to the gifts that are bound to give. Bounty and care one for another every day that we're all our home. What do we bring to show to each other? Gifts that are bound to give, bounty and care one for another every day that we're all our home. What do we bring to show our love? What are the gifts that are ours alone? Body and spirit, heart and mind, making a world where all are home.
Each week there are lots of unspoken joys and concerns and milestones in our life, and this week is no exception. Usually we have a time of silent meditation and prayer for everybody to get in touch with where their heart is, even if they didn't speak it aloud during this period. Today, we're going to put that on hold, and we're going to have put to some beautiful music, a look back at the year beyond RE, beyond the children's year at CVUUS, before we have our reading and homily. So Margie, take it away.
Come wash your hands with me. Come wash your hands with me. Come wash your hands with me so we can have peace of mind. And I'll bring you soap when soap is hard to find. And I'll sing this song for you as we protect humankind.
About a year ago today, on March 3rd, 2020, the Reverend Lynn Unger published her poem, Pandemic. I was very moved by this piece a year ago today, and I'm grateful to Barnaby for choosing it as our reading for today. Speaks to me still. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel. Cease from buying and selling. Give up just for now on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has become clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live.
Will you breathe with me? Thank you, Becky. This past Thursday, the anniversary of the day the World Health Organization officially declared COVID-19 a global pandemic, was also the anniversary of the day Lynn Unger posted her poem Pandemic on her Facebook page. That day when I first read Pandemic, we were still hoping to meet for worship in the sanctuary on Sunday. By the next day, we had agreed we couldn't. We were adrift in a torrent of notices shutting down so much in our lives. Visits to elderly relatives and friends in retirement communities and hospitals, schools, sports, theater, and other forms of public entertainment. And eventually, total lockdowns for all except emergency services. It quickly seemed that only President Trump and those who dared not anger him were arguing that it would all be over soon. I remember thinking that no one had captured the best that we could hope for better than Lynn, whom I had admired for many years as a UU minister and poet. Suddenly, she was semi-famous as her poem became a widely republished social media phenomenon. Reading her poem for the first time is one of my strongest memories of the early days of COVID-19. Many of us have since then followed Lynn's prayer for us, each in our own way. We, quote, centered down on our relationships with those we most loved. Sometimes that involved getting in touch with people we had forgotten we loved and hadn't spoke with in years, or contacting people we had had trouble loving and hadn't spoken with in years. Or perhaps it involved bringing new animals into the family or more regular attention to our love of time out in the natural world. There was no end of the ways we centered down on our relationships, the ones that meant the most to us. In Lynn's words, we reached out tendrils of compassion that moved where we could not touch. I think it's fair to say that as a congregation, we have explored how this might indeed be the most sacred of times. Many of us plunged with incredible energy and dedication into maintaining our time to worship and learn together as best we could. We got very creative about protecting traditions like mud and flour communions and our rhubarb festival. The skilled sewers among us began churning out face masks. In the slideshow, you saw the two that Kate made for Michelle and me. But maintaining the spirit of Sabbath got tougher with each passing week, didn't it? Especially for parents trying to juggle work with caring for children condemned to Zoom schooling without playdates or sports. And then the killing of George Floyd blew the cover off any remaining illusions that injustice was also taking a Sabbath approach to dealing with the pandemic. Now, just over a year into our confrontation with this virus, it's natural to look back at our experiences and to ask what they taught us about ourselves and the world around us. In our prayer class Thursday night, I invited everyone to take 10 minutes to write a flash first draft of a virus anniversary poem. Mine started with where I am both physically and emotionally. Return of mud, spring's tug of war. Did it happen all summer, all fall, all winter? Spirit of life-giving love, what possessed you? My prayer went on to sample our losses. What did you do with all of the lost hugs? Where did you travel in the too quiet streets? What did the people who died alone say to you, spirit of life-giving love? This, I admit, was placeholder language for hasty writing. Who can sum up our losses? One of you asked me when the reported COVID-19 death toll in this country passed 400,000 2 months ago. How are we going to be able to wrap our minds and hearts around this huge death toll? Can you help me? All I could say to that question, all I can say now that the death toll is well past 500,000 and growing, is that each life lost is precious. Each deserves to be mourned or celebrated when and how the need to cry or smile comes to those who knew that person. But it's not just the deaths and long-term health disabilities traceable to the virus we need to wrap our minds and hearts around. In our own congregation, Roger Comstock, Carol Furlan, Bob Carroll, and last Sunday, Bob Johnson, have all died of natural causes in the past year. In each case, the virus among us restricted what we could do to love them through their passage to death and celebrate their lives. Let us recall these deaths too, and others in our extended families, and the lost or reduced jobs, the lost fellowship of singing together, and so much more, each its own kind of death. They were part of our congregational life, if only for making more precious what we could still do. My draft anniversary COVID-19 prayer addressed to the spirit of life, giving love ended. Did you confuse us about what matters or teach us? Help us to know the difference. I want to ask you to try to feel yourself held in this spirit of life-giving love this morning. We've looked back throughout this service at uplifting visual snippets of the year that was for our congregation. A truer history would go on for hours, expanding on some of these slides and introducing other things we did that went unrepresented. We had the joy of hearing in August, for instance, that Elizabeth and Jameson Sylvia, who are among our newest congregants, had welcomed a new son, Franklin, or Frankie, into their home in Ripton. I have the joy of looking forward to being able to dedicate Frankie in our sanctuary at some point. Our online new UU classes last April and this past November resulted in Julia Chant, Janice Sabet, Pam Billingsley, Dee Carroll, Penelope Markle, and Deanne Morse becoming new members. We made bag lunches for the Zen Center to distribute to homeless folks in Rutland during the summer, and organized in less than a week with the Zen Center at the request of Fernanda Canales, a CVUUS member who is principal of the elementary school in Salisbury, to help provide meals for families needing food support when school openings were delayed in September. Our caring network under the leadership of Catherine Schloff and my wife, Michelle, provided more help to more congregants than ever before. And I know that so many of you did so much more on an informal basis for each other, despite the restrictions. It was amazing, an amazing display of how we care for each other. Lynn Unger asked that we promise this world our love in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Throughout this year, CVUUS has explored both intentionally and haphazardly what that kind of a life might be like in previously unimaginable circumstances. I sense that we're ready to keep going in faith that we are, as the Pledge campaign motto puts it, bound for joy. I will talk about it more next week. But I want to head towards the end of this brief homily with the impromptu prayer written by Louise Cadwell, a member of the prayer class, that made the point beautifully for me and others when we met Thursday evening. Oh, dear God, help me find a long view, a wisdom view, a wide view of love, that's love with a capital L, of love, of time, of our time, of my time. Help me to know that love is for always, that we live in one another's hearts, that moments and memories make a string of pearls that encircle us. Let me see that breaking hearts are love, and that love will comfort and hold us now and always. Instead of a benediction today, I want to reach one final time back into the year that was for us. I invite you to listen to the Unitarian Universalist General Assembly Choir, including our own Margie Young, second row from the bottom, singing this favorite hymn for the online National Assembly that replaced the planned assembly in June in Providence, Rhode Island. And while you were listening, please note that being forced online ended up bringing this music and other General Assembly events to far more UUs, including many of modest means, than had been expected to attend the on-site gathering our denomination was forced to cancel. We will move directly from this musical benediction to Ronnie playing another hymn appropriate to this moment as our postlude, The Fire of Commitment. Blessed be and amen.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders Rulers of nations, we're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are